What do you know about Germans? They are known for efficiency, bureaucracy, and rules for everything. But what if you miss one important thing that can help you to improve your financial situation? I'm talking about spending habits that I've observed living in Germany for more than a decade. I found something that worth sharing because that can help you to understand how to better manage your personal budget. And let me talk about 6 spending habits that makes total sense in Germany. And the first thing that stands out for me is no credit culture. Germany is not credit driven society. People don't rely on credit cards to fund their lifestyle. They optimize their budget to plan big purchases without living on a constant debt. I believe the social security pays into this behavior because, for example, medical system offers people healthcare without leading them to go in bankruptcy. Despite the fact that people always complain about growing prices, what I can say, people here don't normalize spending money they don't have yet. They optimize their spending that they have right now. I can say that Germany is not an impression culture. At least majority of people I know who are well paid don't show off and play status game. Society feels more homogeneous, where shopping is not driven by the desire to make an impression, but rather by intentional choices and planning. Of course, there is a major exception, and it's the mortgage, but that comes more to the younger generation, and that's the second spending habits I wanted to raise here. Because majority of people living in Germany prefer renting over owning real estate. Renting here is totally normal and perceived as flexibility. In many cultures, owning property is the ultimate goal. In Germany, it's not a necessity. Renting is often seen as a strategic choice, not a failure. And because professionals hold the flexibility and often choose to relocate to other places for better career opportunities or keeping their square meters upgraded gradually as their families grow. Yes, here I have to mention that my point of view is totally based on the experience I have mostly living in Berlin. So always feel free to share your take on that, helping me better understand the cultural local nuances. But in Berlin, for many years, unfortunately not today anymore, the renting prices were very attractive and gave possibilities to remove pressure to overcommit too early in life for 30 plus years of mortgage. But to be fair, I see the trend of changes here. First, I observe how many immigrants already start thinking about their own apartment, and more my personal conversation comes to this topic because the mortgage can become really smart financial decision if you calculate it right. But let me talk about that in the separate video. In the meantime, let's move on to the next habit that is very typical for German people is the planning and booking travels way in advance. Germans are planners, especially when it comes to travel. That's why trips are often booked months ahead. And I think this might seem boring, but very smart financially. With this approach, you get better prices for desired conditions, more options to choose from, and less stress, avoiding last minute organization. People usually see spontaneity as fun and maybe even a romantic move, but planning actually saves money. And one more habit I want to bring here is loyalty programs and discount system. Customers are not treated like strangers, especially in supermarkets. Every local supermarket has its loyalty program, helping people save money. Often I see neighbors in the shopping mall walking with the prospect with all weekly discounts listed in it. People use apps or stickers to collect bonus points and save money on basic products regularly. On TV, sometimes, of course, you can see how it goes on extreme way, but never saw that happens in real life. People really look very consistent with their choices and do very smart budget management system. Avoid overpaying on the regular basis for the same things. And moving on to another common spending habit is the seasonality mindset. In Germany, there are two major sales seasons. Last 2 weeks of August and February, where the low prices doesn't tie to poor quality of the products, but planned activity for vendors to change assortment and release spaces in their storage rooms. Apart from that, again, every supermarket has variety of product dedicated to special holidays or seasons on sale, like asparagus season or Christmas snacks or Easter eggs. Everything is sold almost half price during that special occasion that makes customer happy and shop profitable. I personally using major sale season for purchasing something expensive like Dyson, vacuum cleaner, any other devices or big purchases. And usually that gives me an extra discount for the things I already wanted to have, but get it for 50 or even €100 less. But be careful, if you are a shopaholic, those seasonal changes may harm your budget. But more on that I talk already in the separate video. And there is one more habit that I want to mention in this video about Germans, that they buy their time back. And from my point of view, this is the subtle but powerful. Many Germans don't just optimize money, they optimize time. Working part-time is very common here, and technically, employer is not allowed to say no when employee wants to switch to reduced working hours. And from the newbie in the country perspective, it may look silly to decide willingly to be paid less, but in reality, this leads to better work-life balance and better optimization of the taxes, of course. After reaching certain income, it's actually smarter to work less and pay less taxes. If you are interested in this topic, let me know and I'll record a separate video about this. But to be fair, 4 days work week is not a unique concept. Many Scandinavian countries use it for years, and when I first heard of that, I was shocked, but now more and more I actually understand that it really makes sense. But this comes to shift of the mindset when you stop seeing money as the only resource, but you value your time equally well. With all that said, I think that for many German people, financial responsibility comes naturally from cultural heritage that is passed from one generation to another. And I like the opportunity to have a deep look on this culture and take the best practices into my reality and improve my financial well being along getting integrated into this country. And I'm curious which of these habits you have already in your life, or at least worth trying to adopt into your personal budget management system. Let me know what do you think about that, and let's see, as usual, each other in the other videos that are already available on my channel. Take care and see you soon. Bye bye!